Kristen again with Ministry to Children and the lovely photobombing Fiona. Well, it's craft time again, and today I'm going to walk you through two pretty simple crafts. You don't need a whole lot of extra supplies, and you really don't need too much time. You can make it as creative as you'd like, as long as there's not a cat trying to steal all of your pipe cleaners. So we're going to be talking today about sharing. And we're going to talk about how we can share Jesus with one another, just like the disciples shared Jesus and told one another about the good news. And so we're going to do a couple of crafts that remind us of how important it is to share God's love with one another. Now, there are a lot of things really that you could do with this lesson. So you could focus on the disciples. You could make disciple puppets. You could make a little scene with all of the disciples. You could make a bead bracelet with little reminders of who Jesus is. There's a lot of options really, but the ones that we're going to do today, we're going to do a game and a sharing envelope. So let me tell you about how those go. And again, they're both pretty simple. The first one we're going to look at is the sharing envelope. So basically, you're going to be making some homemade stationery to share and encourage other people. So you're going to start with an envelope, and you can use some note cards, you can use some construction paper, you can kind of make it however you'd like to do it. And then you're going to want some little kind of a trinket that you can put inside. So maybe some stickers that you could cut into strips and have different little stickers. And then you're going to also want some kind of a decorative crayons, markers, colored pencils, something of that sort. So what you're going to do is you're going to have the students make a couple of these envelopes. And the idea is that they're going to share Jesus' love with someone, and hopefully that someone will share with another person and pass it on. So what you want to do is, if you get really creative and you have multiple size envelopes, they could even have envelopes within the envelopes. But the basic version, they're going to decorate their envelope. This is what they're going to be giving someone. So they can think of someone ahead of time if they want to have in mind that they're going to be giving this to. And then you can have them draw a picture or maybe write a message on the front. Like they could say, Jesus loves you. Or they could just have like a little smiley face that's very, very happy. You could add some sticker eyes or googly eyes if you want to get really creative. It's kind of up to you. This is the basic version. So once they've decorated the outside, you're going to have them take their cards and they're going to write special messages on these. Now you want to put in a couple of cards because, again, the idea is that someone will pass along this good news to somebody else. So on the cards, you're going to write a little message as well. So you could do a Bible verse, you could write something about how God cares for them, something about how you care for them, and then you're going to also write, pass it on. So you might write, God died for you, pass on the great news. And you're going to do that on a couple of these sheets, and then you're going to put those into the envelope along with your stickers, or if you have like a really big envelope and a really flat candy, you could do something like a little candy. And then you could seal it if you want, or you could just have it like this. And then the idea is that the kids are going to take their envelopes with their encouraging notes, and they're going to share that with someone else. And hopefully, when it says pass it on, that someone else will do the same thing and they'll share it with someone else. And the idea is that the good news spreads just like the good news of Jesus spreads. So that's your simple, basic Jesus loves you envelopes, homemade stationery fun. And again, you can get as elaborate as you want. You can throw in some glitter, you can throw in some confetti, you can go buck wild and just make it fun. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a game. Because as we're talking about things that are important to share, and we're talking about things that are better done with someone than done by yourself, well, one thing that's a lot better to share than to do alone is a game. So we're going to make a little game of tic-tac-toe. It's going to be three-dimensional tic-tac-toe. So you're going to need a piece of paper, and you're going to need some pipe cleaners. So you can have kids do this in pairs, and then they can play the game when they're finished. And what they're going to do is they can really choose any color of pipe cleaner that they want, because they're going to be able to distinguish who's who by what shapes they are. So you can have them do the traditional X's and O's, and they can just kind of shape some of their pipe cleaners into a little O shape, like a circle. And they can shape some other of the pipe cleaners into more of an X, but you actually might need 2 separate pipe cleaners to make your X so that you can fold them in on one another. And you may want to cut them in half because obviously this is very large. Or if you don't want to do an X, you could also have them do a different kind of shape. Like they could do a triangle, and then it could be tic-tac-toe with triangles and O's. Or they could do a square, or they could do a star, or, kind of whatever fun little shape that they want to do. And then you will create your tic-tac-toe board. And if you want to get really fancy with it, you can pull out a ruler so they can have nice straight lines, or you can have them just have fun and make squiggly lines. And if you've never played tic-tac-toe, first of all, where have you been? But you'll need some lines so that you have 3 columns and 3 rows. So you're going to make 2 lines one way, 2 lines the other way. And again, if you've been in a hole somewhere and you don't know how to play tic-tac-toe, the idea is that you want to get 3 of your items in a row. So you'll have kids make several of these little pipe cleaner shapes, and then they're going to take turns placing them on their tic-tac-toe board. And you can make this more decorative as well. You can put a title, you can add an extra verse about sharing or about friendship. You can have as much fun with it as you'd like to and as you have time and attention for. But again, yes, the object is to get 3 of your pieces in a row, diagonally or across or up and down, and you take turns, so one person goes at a time, and you try to block the other person while getting your O or your X to have the 3 in a row. I really hope you've played this game before, though. And of course, you can turn this either way. It's the same however you slice and dice it. But then that's a fun thing that not only do they get to make the craft, but then if kids are finished early, they can play the game with another student and have fun with it. So those are a couple of simple craft ideas to remind you of the importance of sharing the good news of Jesus with one another. We will have plenty more where that came from coming up. Have a great week. Go have fun. Go make some crafts and make some disciples. We'll see you next time.